Hello, and welcome to our Vouched webinar. We are creating a series of conversations with leaders in the industry in order to expand an understanding of who Vouch is partnering with. We're calling this series Partnering for Trust, where our goal is to highlight innovators, builders, and bold thinkers like Tim Lee, shaping identity in our digital first world. My name's Tom Donnelly. Many of you know me from the Merchant Risk Council or working the past decade at Akata. I currently work at Vouched, and we work with a variety of companies in the fintech, crypto, healthcare, and other marketplace type verticals focused on trust, security, and growth. I lead partnerships here, and I'm super excited to have Tim Lee, who's the CEO and founder of Lend API. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Good.
excited to be part of this.
Excellent. And thanks for being our initial participant in this
Yes.
series. So we're excited to kick it off. Tim's done a lot of these types of interviews and is a regular public speaker. So we're excited to get rolling. Um, with his background of starting many companies, advising lots of startups, he's founded multiple companies. He has invested heavily in academic programs to promote entrepreneurship and leading thinking in fintech, also having worked for blue chip companies like JP Morgan and Intel. Um, Always with a focus, Tim, from my perspective, on taking technology and using it to make better decisions in financial services, to make them more efficient and to make them more inclusive.
Yeah.
Um, Tim's also leading this charge with Lend API, which is a relatively new venture for you. So it's providing developers and financial institutions with powerful APIs to streamline loan origination, servicing, and compliance.
Mhm.
Um, this is an industry where speed and security and scalability are everything. So we're
Right.
super excited to welcome you,
Yes.
Tim, and learn more about your journey at Lend API.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. So, been around for many years. Started my career at Intel Corporation building microprocessors, and some days I feel like I should have stuck with that, right? It's all so hot now. But I got recruited to work for JP Morgan Chase to build their digital banking back in the days, right?
Yep.
When we had no online banking, there's no smartphones or smart ATMs. It was the day ones of online banking. So the bank hired a bunch of engineers across the land. We built Chase.com, Chase app, all the smart ATM technologies and all of that. Stayed there just long enough to absorb Watch Mutual, if you remember that. You're on the West
Of
Coast.
course. Yeah, I'm
You
based
are
in
now in
Seattle, so we very much
oh, yeah.
remember. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we had to ship a whole troop over there,
Yep.
in dark times, if you will, and
Yep.
Bear Stearns and all of that, right? So I sat there in the, Columbus, Ohio command center, helping out with risk, technology, all of that, and that's how I sort of got my first look at all of the banking technology, banking, lending, fraud, identity, right? When we launched Chase.com, it was hamster wheels in the background
Yeah.
to figure
Yeah.
out where's the IP coming from? Where's the device coming from? Should we do multi-factor authentication or out-of-wallet questions, or all of this stuff sort of was put together then. And then I ventured into a bunch of fintechs right around 2010, 2009, 2011-ish. VCs came into financial technology or fintech, invested, I guess billions of dollars, right? So a bunch of us left the bank and started our own thing. I worked at just about every fintech company there is under the sun, and I found myself building the same thing over and over again, which is all the predecessors of Lend API, if you will. And I finally arrived to the conclusion where, I'm going to take a page from WordPress, GoDaddy, right? So if you want to build a website today, you don't even think twice. Go online, get a domain, take a template, launch your website over the weekend, however that is, right? But 20 years ago, you got to hire a webmaster. Remember that job? It doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So I felt like, fintech or banks or this sector deserves the same amount of technology. Why can't we? Build your own experience, drag and drop, connect to a powerful decision engine, then link to all of the KYC like Vouched, right? To do what they really need to do, build rules,
Yeah.
models, whatever that might be, and then pass it
Yep.
on to the credit underwriting side of the house. So that's what we built a Lend API, and it's catching a lot of attention people just sign up, start building, and we have to say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, let's figure out what you really wanted to do."
Yeah.
Been around for almost a year plus 1 month now.
Yeah.
We have
Great.
20, 30 clients, and people just sign up and start using it. Um, and we like to thank Vouch of the planet of the world to provide all of these critical third party data provisions, if you will, to make this Len API thing work for our common clients.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
say a little bit about the core verticals that you're having early success with. Like what are the types of companies that are your early adopters?
Yes. So I get asked this question all the time from our VCs, from our board member, and so
Yeah.
forth. And on one hand, I will say, you know what, WordPress, Squarespace, or Wix, whatever it might be, right? Maybe ask themselves the same question: What are the ICPs? What's my verticals? But they turn out to be building websites for everybody, right? As a do-it-yourself
Yeah.
service. So
Yeah.
on one hand, I'll tell people anybody can build anything with this tool that we build. Generically speaking, it's just WordPress for banks. But we know a few people in fintech and bank, and that's easier for us to kind of get this product into market. So the early successes were personal loans, credit cards, point of sale financing, right? There's a lot
Hmm.
of sort of B2C or B2B to C kind of a relationship where we have to verify a consumer's identity, and sometimes we have to verify the merchant's identity. But
Correct.
now we have
Yeah.
commercial real estate, mortgages, embedded finance of all sorts, and
Hmm.
financing a lot of large retail outfits as well, not just banks and fintechs, right?
Yeah.
Marine equipment or mattresses, furniture, all of these online retailers or in-store retailers wants to do their own Sezo or a firm or whatever it might be, and our tool just so happen to be in the intersections of what they need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. As
Yeah.
as the merchant or the B2C business really wants to control the branding and the
Yes.
experience, they can work closely with a partner like Lend API
Right.
to make that happen.
That's right. Yeah, we have a little button that we built. Literally, you can copy 4 or 5 lines of code, and it becomes a checkout button, pay in four button,
Hmm.
right on their e-commerce site or in the store POS system. But all of which needs all of the third-party partners, to do all the verification, to do all the fraud detection. When you go online, there's a whole different chapter of all sorts of people show up on your website, and you don't really even know why they're there applying for 10,000, $5,000 worth of furniture credits. You got to really figure them out. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and when the merchant is holding, or the B2C entity is holding that responsibility, holding the liability, they want to be absolutely sure, and they're also extremely motivated to make these loans and make the sale.
that's right.
Correct.
That's right.
So as you're looking at the landscape, so we're excited to partner with Lend API. We just launched this partnership about a month or so ago. So we're developing go to market, joint go to market. What are you looking at as far as the key compliance, regulatory, and security facets that you're bringing
Yeah.
to the market through Lend API?
Yeah. So the first toe gate, it's always fraud, fraud detection.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about identity verification just yet. We're just talking about fraud. There's
Sure.
everybody that touches our system is pure online play. Some of them have a in-store kind of a play, right? Even then, there's identity, thefts and things like that coming with a false sets of identities, right? Fraud detection is number one on everybody's map. If you look at everybody's underwriting flow, it's got to be fraud detection.
Yep.
Is everything matching the way it's supposed to match? First, last name, the regular PIIs. Does it match to all the pseudo PIIs? Phone number, email, IP address, device. Um, and different verticals. I know you guys are in medical, you guys are in crypto, right? Different verticals attracts different type of individuals, if you will, right? Because they guys made a
Criminals.
business out of
Yeah.
it, right? They also
Yeah.
made a business out of it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
in healthcare finance, right, there's always an intermediary of the people that are delivering the service, whether it's augmented surgery or some kind of a treatment, right? So are the merchants even real, right? Some people even copy the
Yeah.
merchant's entire website to
Yeah.
pretend to be somebody and start submitting applications, right? So
Yep.
all of these are real identities, but they always leave little breadcrumbs for you to figure out, this is actually doesn't right. It's not the right way to doing it. So is fraud detection? Why are these merchants signing up for to be a merchant on this lender's website? And why are these merchants bring this type of applicants through to apply for some kind
Mhm.
of credit, whether it's point of sale financing, medical procedures, or what have you. So that's gate number one. And then gate number two is it's absolutely KYC, KYB, KYC, KYB in that very traditional sense, right?
Yeah.
It could be a passive verification, like what you guys are offering, name, address, phone number, email match, IP address, device, all makes sense. And then in certain scenarios, right, there's multi-factor authentication to detect whether the person has control, of the phone number or the email address that they supplied. So
Mhm.
people put a lot of effort and attention on that identity verification, identity fraud, or fraud detection piece before they even dream about pulling credit on somebody, right? The last thing they want is
That's
pulling
right.
credit on the wrong person,
That's
right?
right.
Then it's a whole different ball of wax that they have to answer to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's also a waste of time and money
right.
in the
And
process.
potential
Yeah.
compliance issues for them, right? Pulling credit
Yeah.
on the wrong identity. Yeah, that's a problem.
For sure, for
Right,
sure. And so the some of the challenges we see in lending, obviously, there's the fraud you're talking about, which often takes the place of synthetic identities.
right.
I affectionately call them Frankenstein,
Yes,
Frankenstein people. So bits and pieces are Tim Lee, bits and pieces are made up.
that's right.
Um, and then there's going to be other information that's credible enough for many institutions to pass them as a potential
That's
lender or
right.
potential borrower.
Yes.
So we're constantly aware of that, and
Yeah.
maybe I'll pause there, see if you have any comments on synthetic identities as your lenders are dealing with these attacks.
Yes, you were mentioning that I advise a bunch of startups. I also sit on some advisory boards from really established lenders. Just
Yep.
this morning, I was sitting in their technology steering committee, and all the heads of states will report on their findings for the month. And sure enough, there's constant cyber attacks. They will apply for credit, holding a couple of pieces of their identity constant, rotating everything else.
Yeah.
Right, to
Yep.
piece together that synthetic sort of a, identity to see what it can go through, right? And
Mhm.
it lasted for a whole day. If you don't have the proper sort of a protection, that lender could have lost easily 5, $6 million in one sitting. That'll be
Yes.
hell to pay, right? Versus,
Yeah.
uh, you know, getting a firm like Vouched in there to kind of give you a first the ROI on that is infinite, basically, if
Yeah.
you don't have
Yeah.
the right, protection there, but it's happening in real time
Yeah.
to just about everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a business.
address tumbling. Yeah, so my last 20 years or so I've spent in preventing e-commerce fraud in a
That's right.
variety of roles. And so the address tumbling or just changing certain details like you're describing is very common. What
Yeah,
I'm finding in lending, these breakout scams, right? So
that's right.
identities are able to establish credit history with certain small
That's
loans. They pay them
right.
back. They're
Yep,
building a profile so that then they can strike at a bunch of lenders at the
that's
same
right.
time, and
The
that you're
sleeper
still
cell.
seeing that as a common issue in the
One
industry.
100%,
Yeah,
100%. Some of them are clever, some of them are still using the same old tactic. Right?
yeah,
It's not going away, because it's a large business for them, for those network. And then you speaking of tumbling, right? There's a bunch of coupon frauds and all that stuff out there.
oh,
That's huge,
yeah,
this
yeah,
$5 adds up. So,
yeah.
but anyways, yeah, um,
Promotions abuse is
promotional.
definitely
Yep.
exactly. It's a huge problem in a
Yes.
lot of industries. So now, how are lenders? How are this variety of companies? How are they finding Lend API besides your vast industry connections? How are
Yeah.
you connecting to these companies that are utilizing the platform?
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways that I'm personally involved in. One is, our marketplace. You know, uh, marketplace, our Lend API fintech marketplace. Day
Mhm.
one, I said, well, nobody knows about Lend API. How do people even show up, right? So I started calling some of our partners, early partners. Hey, I'm going to put together a marketplace presence on our website.
Mhm.
One, selfishly speaking, I talked to a lot of people. I don't remember who I talked to, so I want to look up something to say, oh, identity verification. Who do I talk to? Right. And two is because we have talked to a lot of banks, and they always ask, even today, somebody asked me, "Hey, do you know any identity verification, or do you know anybody can verify bank accounts?" I'm like, yes. I go to my website, go to Marketplace and pulled up a couple of names for as a reference.
Yeah.
So because of that, a lot of our members, like you guys, right,
Hmm.
started talking about, hey, Lend the API is out there automating or making it super easy for you to launch your product. And we're happen to be part of that member integrated partner. So in a
Yeah.
way, it's a win-win-win situation where if I can launch our common client faster, Vouch gets eat faster, I get a new client, and the client's happier because they don't have to spend millions of dollars
Yeah.
and spend 2 years waiting time, right? They can actually instantly sort of launch your product over a weekend if they wanted to, just like WordPress.
Yeah.
So our marketplace is a powerful tool for us to kind of get the word out, right? That's just one of the many things. And because of that, I'm on this wonderful podcast kicking this off with you, right, to get the word out as well. So it kind of pays
Yeah.
dividends that way. But
Yeah.
ultimately, the idea is launch our common clients faster. So Vouch and Lend API can help people grow.
Yeah.
That's the
Fantastic.
end goal.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
ideal partnerships for us is where the vouch solution is increasing the effectiveness of the offering, adding functionality that doesn't exist natively, bringing in that intelligence, helping your clients make better
that's right.
decisions. That's like a beautiful relationship
That's
for
right.
us.
Yeah, yeah. We're a distribution channel, as it were. We're the record store. You guys are the musicians, if you will.
Yeah, we
That's
create
the
creative
analogy.
artists. That's
Yeah,
right.
creative
That's
artist.
great.
That's right. Yeah.
Good. Well,
Um,
as you're looking out on the next couple of years, one of the challenges that everyone's talking about are AI deepfakes. And really, I think it's going to be a beneficial component for most of us humans. Our
mhm.
AI agents.
Yep.
However, it's going to be challenging in the industry to verify: is this agent verified? Are they acting on behalf of a legitimate consumer?
Right.
How are you seeing, either on your advisory boards, your advising role, or at Lend API? How are you seeing this play out in the industry?
Yes. My biggest fears are just happening to us and we don't know about it.
Yeah, right.
Right,
Yeah,
and we
it's
chalk it
started.
up as
Yeah,
first payment default, right? We can never get a hold of this person without the knowledge of this is actually a piece of identity or a person that was created. But, we do have databases, right? We do have consortium databases. We do have ways to kind of verify people.
yep,
There are credit bureaus up and down the block here in the United States and around the world, and the Vouched of the world, right, started creating that database, creating that experience, creating that consortium of information.
yeah.
So all of that information is super powerful when we say, you know what, this person looks perfect, is my ideal customer, but we nobody has ever seen this identity before.
Hmm.
But this guy is a 45-year-old guy applicant, right? There's a problem.
Right.
So thankfully, we're not starting from scratch. We have all of these competing information to verify this piece of identity, right? So there are ways to combat this, right? In 20 years, I'm not sure because AI could start to build their own database, their own
Yeah,
AI credit bureaus or whatever it might be, right? Then they can
yeah,
possibly verify who they are. But hopefully by then, one, you and I don't have to worry about it because we're going to be sitting on a beach somewhere, right? But in all seriousness, I think there will be technology I'm not even aware of to positively identify people. I've seen these news articles where you put your hands on that orb to verify that you're a
oh
real
wow, yeah,
person,
yeah,
right? So whatever they're
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
um, and if we're open up our mind, there's a lot of biometrics happening, right? Everybody has a little watch. Everybody's, your whole body's buzzing because all the all the
yeah,
equipment you have wearing on your body. Maybe some of that stuff could positively identify this is actually a carbon-based life form, at a
yep,
basic level that's applying. But
yeah,
um, who knows, man? I mean, like,
yeah,
we've seen implements where we've certainly been asked to do this. Where you just talk to your phone, right, and fill out the
hmm,
application, basically. So
yeah,
maybe in that way, because it's going through a device, because it's being fashioned by Google or Apple, whatever it might be, there's some device level identification
yeah,
um, process source, if you will, to say that this is actually a real voice for what it's worth. And there's always out of band authentication questions and stuff like that. We can still pull those old tools, right,
yeah,
to verify who
yeah,
you are. But it's scary, and
hmm,
but it's inside of all the lenders, like the same kind of a steering committee I was sitting at, right? There's a whole 2, 3 pages of their AI strategy.
Hmm.
whether it's internal use or external dialers and things like that. It's all happening. But
Hmm.
you're absolutely right, Tom. The the frosters, if you will, right, are using the exact same type technology and trying to see where the crack is at, with all of our common clients. Yeah.
That's right. And they're looking for the weakest place to
Yeah.
attack for sure.
Exactly.
Good. So as we wrap up here, Tim, we want to keep these short and sweet. I'm curious if there's any aspect of your business that we haven't covered yet that you think it's important for listeners to understand for those watching our podcast. What have we missed in regard to Lendy API? What you're creating that's different than what existed,
Yeah.
or any success stories maybe that we should have covered that we haven't yet.
Yeah, it's the creativity in our space. Every day, we talk to lenders or fintech startups that have unique ideas,
Hmm.
unique approach, right, to how they, attract customers all the way to verifying them and push them through the application. I'm constantly surprised of these verticals, right? Really deep verticals, right? People that really understand the rental market, people that really understand how to finance boats,
Yeah,
marine equipment,
yeah,
or
yeah,
mattresses, right?
for
So they
sure.
just know that business cold. Now they want to be a fintech without having to say that they're a fintech. They just want to finance more of their mattresses with
Yeah,
pillows and things like that,
yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure.
So what I'm all of a sudden facing here, Tom, is that I thought I was servicing the 3,000 fintechs, sorry, 10,000 fintechs, 3,000 banks and credit unions, but now I'm facing these 30 million small businesses that are selling all sorts of stuff from bikes to pillows, right? And
Yep.
now they want to do now they want to do financing, either paying for or they have a local credit union that can fund some of these things 80 cents on the dollar. So now we have all of these retail clients that aren't lenders, they aren't
Yeah,
banks. They
yeah,
just need a tool to push more inventory
yeah.
all in there.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. And is in this time of uncertainty, it's helpful for consumers to have access to that credit. And if it's basically white labeled, it's readily available.
that's
That's going
right.
to make it much more accessible.
That's right. It's
Yeah,
easier on the wallet. I just said that to somebody this morning. Yes. There's
that's
a
great,
whole
Tim.
space for us to explore. All the retail folks.
Well, here at Vouch, we are super excited to be partnering with Lend API, and we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and kick off this partnership.
Yes. Love it. Thank you for having me.
Great, excellent.